Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy with Cichlid Bros. In today's video, we are unboxing some new fish for my Discus Aquarium. This 90-gallon aquarium has been set up for about a year and a half now, but I've had a few challenges with this tank and I'll walk through those today. I really just wanted to show you an update on this tank, as many of you have been asking, and with some of the other projects going on in my basement, this tank has kind of been neglected in terms of just showing you updates. So really excited for this one. Let's dive right in. So like I said, there has been a ton going on here down in my basement and just projects I've been working on, including the 180-gallon aquarium here, the 150-gallon South American cichlid tank here. We also got our new play button, so thank you all for subscribing, really appreciate it. And then you walked in here and you have the 135 with African cichlids, and all of them are doing really well. But then you come around the corner, we have our 90-gallon discus tank here. That's what we're going to talk through today. And then we have the big plywood aquarium, which just had an update on, and there's much more to come there. But that's one of the big projects that's really set me back in terms of maintaining this aquarium, or at least making it look nice. I still do water changes and make sure the water parameters are nice, but there are definitely things I would like to improve about it aesthetically. This 90-gallon aquarium was set up about a year and a half ago. And during that time, I've maybe lost 2 discus and another 1 or 2 discus. Have never really eaten well, and I've always been kind of thin. So recently I went through a couple rounds of internal parasite medications, including Paracleanse and Expel P, and they've been eating much better since that round of meds. You also may have seen the recent video I did where I stopped over at Damian Cotter's house to do maintenance on his beautiful 180-gallon discus tank. And during that video, I saw that he had one of his discus that was much smaller and wasn't eating well, was kind of being bullied by the bigger discus in his tank, so we decided to remove it from his aquarium and put it in mine, since I was already going to be treating it with medications. And unfortunately, I just could not save him. He never really came back around. And there were a couple comments on that video saying he was too far gone, like I shouldn't even try, but I'm always going to try to save a fish when I can, and that's what I did there, and there's no harm done. The rest of the tank is just fine. I was already going through a medication anyway. So sadly, we did lose that fish, but we did try. But just a few things about this tank right now. I do have the Jungle River sand and gravel mix, which I really like. I have some driftwood islands here and some live plants that are slowly but surely starting to grow. So this is one of the challenges I faced, is that a lot of the plants I put in here, including the dwarf Sagittaria, just never really took off, even whenever I would put root tabs in this tank. It may have been just a lack of nutrients, but also maybe the slightly higher temperatures that come with discus. This tank is currently at 83 degrees Fahrenheit, but some of the Anubias is slowly growing in and starting to look pretty good. And also a couple of the crypts have started to grow and expand, which took a while, but is just starting to happen. And then maybe 3 months ago, I added those tall plants in the back of the aquarium, which at first melted down, but then have really started to grow in nicely, and I really like those plants. I'll leave the name on the screen because I can't remember what it was. But in terms of the current stocking, I had 4 discus, about 17 to 18 Rummy-nosed tetras, 6 Corydoras, and probably a million pest snails. And going back to that Damian Cotter video where I mentioned he had pest snails in his aquarium, it was a total coincidence that I did as well in my discus tank. In both of those instances, the pest snails likely came from live plants that were brought in from a local fish store, and they have really made this tank look ugly, or at least to me, it's a bit of an eyesore. So it's been something that I haven't really wanted to work on because the pest snail problem was just totally out of control, and I didn't want to totally reset this tank or add a bunch of copper or medications in here to try to kill the snails. Instead, you'll see in my unboxing later that I did try to do something there to combat this issue. But that fish rescue video and the filming of this unboxing happened many weeks ago, so let's go ahead and flash back to that, and then we'll talk about it because they're now in the tank. We have our new fish shipment here. This was delivered from the wet spot. Let's go ahead and see what's in here. Looks like Rambo's gonna help us again. What do you think's in here, buddy? Some good packaging as usual. Still warm. This was shipped overnight. And I also liked how the wet spot emailed me after I made my order to see exactly what day I would be here for the delivery. So I was able to tell them the exact day of the week, which is pretty nice. Alright, let's start with the smallest bag here. It is a bag of assassin snails. So I wanted these guys to help combat the pest snail problem that I have in my 90-gallon discus tank. You'll see a little bit of a theme there with this unboxing, but assassin snails are supposed to eat pest snails and maybe not multiply as readily, so hoping that works a little bit. And assassin snails look kind of cool, so that's a perk. Alright, next up here we have 6 rummy-nosed tetras. So I was already ordering fish. I went ahead and added 6 more rummy-nosed tetras to kind of beef up the school I currently have in my 90-gallon discus tank. I feel like the more rummy-nosed tetras you have, the better. They look so cool in big numbers, but let's go with our next package here. Alright, so these are zebra loaches. Really cool patterns on these guys. I really like loaches' activity and just how they swim around, and they're really playful. But similar to the assassin snails, I'm hoping that these guys eat some of the pest snails and kind of eradicate that problem, because that tank is really an eyesore to look at now because of all the pest snails. But I'm also really excited to have these 4 zebra loaches. And last but not least here, we have a good sized discus. I'm surprised. This is a yellow melon discus. Pretty good size on him. This was only supposed to be a 2.5-inch discus, but I feel like it is bigger than I ordered, so that's awesome. When I've ordered from other discus sources, I feel like the discus came in a little smaller than advertised, but this guy's a good size and looks healthy. I feel like the yellow will be a nice color match to my other discus. So everything looks great in this shipment. I'm gonna go ahead and put these guys in their quarantine tanks, and then we'll probably speed up a few weeks down the line if I'm putting these guys in their final tank. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we are back to present day, and all the fish have been added after their short quarantine period, and they are looking great, especially that yellow melon discus. It is a beautiful fish, and like I said, it was a little bit bigger than I was expecting, which is amazing. And I really like that bright yellow color. It's eaten really well. It fits in really nicely with the other 4 discus, so the 5 of them swim together much easier. And I also think the 4 discus I had before were kind of a bad combination, because one of them was always being picked on and wasn't really eating, and now they're all out and about and doing much better. And then you can see this school of rummy-nosed tetras that has grown by 6. It is a beautiful school of tetras, and I love seeing these guys swim back and forth in and around the aquascape and the live plants. They're just absolutely beautiful tetras. I love seeing such a big school of them. And then you'll see the 4 zebra loaches in here, and they're doing really well since they've been in the tank. They swim around very actively. Sometimes they even swim in the school of tetras, which is funny to see. But I'm really hoping they go to town on these pest snails. I've heard that they are the best loach to do this, so hopefully they have a field day there and it really cleans up the tank. And then lastly, you can see this assassin snail moving around the tank, and I do like the look of these guys, but I don't think they'll multiply nearly as fast as the pest snails. And even if the zebra loaches eat these assassin snails as well, that wouldn't be a total loss to me. I'm more concerned about just finding any way possible to get out these pest snails.
Stonewalling us, it is a classic snail technique.
But overall, I'm very excited to have these new inhabitants in my 90-gallon discus tank, and hopefully a few of them go to town on the pest snail problem, and some more of the live plants continue to grow in, so that this is a fully stocked planted tank that I've envisioned from the start. I really haven't had the time to dedicate to this tank as I wanted, but now with some of the big projects like this one back here starting to slowly wrap up, I am kind of changing gears and looking at my existing tanks, trying to make them as best as possible. And like I said, I have been keeping up with water changes. The parameters are completely fine for the discus, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how this tank evolves from this point, which should hopefully really start to look good. But I hope you enjoyed seeing the update on this discus tank. There will be many more updates to come, especially with the new tank mates, the plants, and those snails. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.